Okay.
It
Y'all,
got enough grass.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Y'all ready?
Ready.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Are there any addenda to the agenda?
No, sir.
All right, we'll go. Everybody has a copy of the minutes from April 20th, 2023. Any additions or corrections?
Make a move that it be approved.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion to be approved. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, they've been approved. We'll jump right into the first public hearing, AA 23-8, a request for a variance from front yard parking requirements at 2900-2902 North Main Street.
Yes, sir. You are all familiar with this property as a prominent corner in Anderson. It's at the corner of North Main Street and Concord Road. This is North Main Street, located here. This is Concord, located this way. And of course, as you head toward Main Street, Concord turns into Whitehall Road. So this is a property we're talking about. Actually, this is a 0.44 acre parcel right here, as you can see outlined in red. And then the applicant is in the process of acquiring the additional land, which makes it 1 acre in size. And that's currently taking place as we go through the site plan review process, as they've submitted those plans and staff is reviewing that right now. The proposal is to construct a restaurant on the property, but what we're here for this evening is regarding a variance from section 11.1.3C of the zoning ordinance that pertains to parking in the front yards. Our parking guidelines allow parking to encroach into half of the front yard building setback, and in this case, the front yard building setback in the GC General Commercial District is 25 feet. So essentially, parking can encroach to within 12.5 feet of the property line. And tonight, what we're talking about is the property line along North Main Street. So according to our guidelines, you can park within 12.5 feet of the property line, but in this particular case, they're wanting a variance ranging between 2 feet and 7.5 feet in order to maintain a 5-foot landscape strip, allowing parking to be closer to North Main Street. Now, one thing I would like to mention, and as you're familiar with, this is the site currently. It's basically 100% impervious surface. The impervious surface area already comes to the property line on Main Street, as you can see in these photographs, and you can see right here how the asphalt comes to the street. What the applicant is proposing to do is to back that off to the 5-foot strip in here, which would soften the landscape in the area, also to help meet our landscaping guidelines, but still backing off 5 feet still does not meet our requirements of the 12.5 feet setback. So that's what we're here for this evening. This shows the site plan, what's proposed. Again, this is the restaurant located here. It meets setbacks, so again, this is not for discussion tonight. And this also shows the landscaping for the proposed development. What you have here, and I mentioned that there's a setback variance request between 2 feet and 5.5 feet, it's because the property line has a jog right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it moves. It's not a linear flow along Main Street. There's a movement there. So the request is for a variance of a couple of feet in this area, but 5.5 feet in this area, because they want to keep the parking spaces in a line. And again, you can see on this plan where the trees are located, there's a 5-foot strip that's proposed. It's not currently there. One other piece of information to take into consideration is that this corner, you're probably aware that there's a kind of a tight turning radius. It's sometimes hard to turn right there. And the Anderson Area Transportation Study, the South Carolina Department of Transportation, have identified this area as an area of need where we need to improve the turning radius. That project has been identified. Funding is still in the process of being acquired and everything else, but it is a future project. But when this site was proposed to us, we wanted to make sure that any redevelopment of this property would take into consideration the future turning radius. And this red area here is land that would be needed to improve that turning radius. So as you can see, with their site plan and even with the variance, that turning radius will still be preserved. That's one thing we wanted to make sure of. But like I said earlier, the property already sees impervious surface area going all the way to Main Street. And so they are planning to pull the parking lot back 5 feet to allow a 5-foot landscaping strip. That's important. And also with the intersection improvement taken in consideration, we won't be impacted by this encroachment. We recommend approval of the variance that ranges between 2 feet and 7.5 feet into the front yard setback. We see that this will add more landscaping, reduce the impervious surface area on the site, so it will be an improvement. And as we continue to go through the process, we'll continue to work with the applicant on site-related reviews and also work to combine the properties that I was showing you earlier to make it that 1 acre parcel of land. Feel free to ask any questions for the staff. Also, the applicant is on the telephone tonight from Charlotte area, Lee Bakley with BO Companies. He's a senior project manager representing this application.
Okay, any questions for staff? You said that, I understand it's going to improve impervious area stuff. Does it meet impervious area requirements?
It's coming much closer to meeting our impervious surface area requirements. In this zoning district, I believe it is 75%. Right now, obviously, it's 100%. We can ask the applicant what that impervious surface area is now, because I don't remember exactly what it shows now, but it is certainly getting closer. And what we do in situations like this, when you're redeveloping a site, we try to work with the applicant as much as possible to get as close to our impervious surface area requirements, because again, this is 100%, and as you can see, it's being softened up with a 5-foot strip, several landscape islands and landscape areas back in here and along the back side of the property.
So those are landscaping and not like umbrellas and outside seating right there, that behind the restaurant?
This is landscaping. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it will see significantly more landscaping in the area. That's
Okay.
one thing we do require.
Maurice, what is this little leg on the first map you put up?
Yeah, this is a piece of property they wanted to acquire.
Yeah,
This right here?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's access, also it helps with the landscaping strip, but they are working to acquire the land from this property where, you know, the music store is located, the golf store used to be located in that shopping center. And this works with their site plan and access to the property. And parking, yeah, it adds more parking in this area. Right now, with this property here, didn't really meet our parking guidelines, and in fact, they would like to have as many parking spaces as they possibly can. So with that being said, you have more parking, you have better access, and it meets our landscaping guidelines as well.
okay.
Okay. Any more questions for staff? No, I know the applicant's on the phone. If he'd like to add anything, he's more than welcome to.
Lee, is there anything you'd like to add to the report tonight?
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I heard the question about how much, the impervious area we were reducing, and were we getting close to the 75%, I believe, requirement for the new code. We are making some additional, improvements to the adjacent parcel. We're adding a little bit more grass area and tweaking the parking, there in front of the 2902 North Main Street building that's to remain. So when you combine the improvements that we're doing there with our Waterboro site, we are reducing in that total disturbed area the amount of impervious by 0.32 acres, net change of impervious to grass, and that gets us to right just below 75% of an impervious in that total study area, total limits of disturbance area.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we've done a very good job of getting very, very close with the Waterboro site to meeting that limit. And when you take into account the improvements we're making next door, we do get right there to about 75% impervious.
All right, thank you. Is there any other questions for the applicant? All right, is there any discussion amongst the board?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. We have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion has approved. Thank you, Mr. Blakely.
So that was a motion, that was an approval tonight, so I'll be in touch with you tomorrow to finalize a few things.
That's wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Look forward to coming to Anderson.
Very good,
All right,
thanks for
thank
your,
you.
thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great evening.
All right, any other business?
That's all the business tonight.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
You speak up when.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks for your.